Okay, so everyone's talking about Pakistan's Super League Season 11. You hear all the buzz about the big players, the flashy signings, but honestly, they're kind of missing the real story. We're going to decode what's actually going on behind the curtain. Because the real game this year, it's not in the highlights. It's all in the strategy. Let's dive in.
And yeah, we're starting with a pretty bold claim right out of the gate. Forget about the household names, just for a second. The obsession with star power this year, it's the biggest distraction there is, and you can bet the teams that fall for that trap are gonna get left behind.
You know why? Because this season is basically a chess match. It's going to be won by the smartest people in the room. The team that's using data that has a real solid strategy and that can make those clever calls when the pressure is on. Raw talent just isn't going to be enough anymore. So you're probably wondering what caused this massive shift. Why is strategy suddenly everything? Well, it all boils down to one single fundamental change to the league, moving from a player draft to a player auction. Just look at the difference here. The old draft system, that was all about creating balance. It was designed to make sure every team had a fair shot at putting together a solid, well-rounded squad. But the new auction system, oh, that's a whole different ballgame. It's a high-stakes, free-for-all where big spending can create a super team, or it can leave a team with some serious, fatal flaws.
And this right here is the absolute key. We're calling it the auction trap. It is so tempting to blow a huge chunk of your budget on 2 or 3 huge, famous players. But if you do that, you could be left with a really weak middle order and nobody you can trust to bowl those crucial final overs. The really smart teams, they're going to avoid that temptation and go for balance every single time.
Okay, so building the team is one part of the puzzle. But what about when the games actually start? Well, there are these unseen forces, these hidden factors in every single match that the insiders are watching, because these things can decide who wins before the final ball is even bowled. Let's get real about what it's like to play in Pakistan, especially in those night matches. The dew. It's a huge deal. It makes the balls super slippery and almost impossible to grip, which is a total nightmare if you're the team trying to bowl. This gives a massive, massive advantage to the team that's batting second, which means winning the coin toss is more important than it's ever been.
But you know, it's not just about the physical conditions. There's something even more subtle going on. What about the psychological side of things? Just think about it for a minute. Some teams and some players, they totally feed off the energy of a packed, roaring stadium. But if you take that away or even just turn down the volume a bit, the whole dynamic changes. Players who thrive on that kind of pressure might find themselves in a totally different headspace. And trust me, that can absolutely change how they perform.
All right, so now that we have this rear way of looking at things, thinking about the auction, the hidden factors, let's actually put it to use. Let's do a smart analysis of a few of the key teams. And first up, we've got to talk about the Lahore Qalandars, a team that's famous for its system.
The Qalandars, they've been amazing at finding and developing players, at building a real team unit. They have a system and it works. But here's the big challenge for them. The auction is almost designed to break a system just like theirs. So the question is, can they hold on to that balance they're famous for when the pressure's on to overspend on a big star?
Next, let's look at a team that's been, you could argue, the most consistent in the whole league, the Multan Sultans.
Now, if there is one team that was built for this new era, it's Multan. I mean, their entire way of doing things is built on data and smart strategic decisions. They're not going to get all emotional in the auction room, nope. They're going to follow their spreadsheets, find those players that nobody else rates properly, and they are probably the team most likely to master this new system right from the get-go.
And finally, we have to talk about the ultimate wild card of PSL 11, the Karachi Kings. Karachi is the very definition of high risk, high reward. Seriously, their entire season depends almost completely on what they do in the auction. If they nail it, if their big bets pay off, they could put together the single most dangerous team in the entire tournament. But if they get it wrong, it could be a very, very long season for them.
So let's pull all these threads together. We've talked strategy, conditions, and a few teams. So what does the actual blueprint for winning PSL 11 look like? Here it is. It's pretty simple, really. Forget the big-name openers. The championship this year will be won by the team with the most dominant middle order, the players who can rebuild in innings or just explode at the end. It'll be won by the team with truly elite death-over bowlers, the ones who can handle the pressure. And it'll be won by the captain who can read the pitch and the dew faster than his opponent. That's it.
And following that blueprint leads to a really interesting thought. A brand new team could actually shock everybody and make it to the final. Why? Well, think about it. They have zero pressure on them. They can experiment with fresh new player combinations that no one expects, and their style is going to be totally unpredictable for the older, more established teams.
So, as we bring this all home, let's shift the focus. Let's talk about how you can make a smart prediction this season. This right here is the most important thing to remember. Just stop asking who has the biggest players. That's the old way of thinking. The real question for PSL 11 is this: which team has the smartest, most well-thought-out strategy?
And here's how you can figure that out for yourself. In every single game, just watch these 3 key moments. The toss tells you everything about their strategic thinking. The power play, that shows you how well they can execute their plan. And the death overs? That's where you see which team really has the nerve and the skill to get it done. The answer is right there. So now, with this whole new way of looking at the game, I'm going to turn it back to you. If you look past all the hype and you focus on the strategy, who do you think is going to win PSL 11? Let's hear what you've got.